Today, we're going to go over GoHighLevel's website builder. So stay tuned and build along with us. All right, so they've made quite a few advancements to the website builder and actually the funnel builder itself. But today we're going to review the website builder and show you kind of all the in and outs and how everything kind of works all together. The greatest part about this is if you're not a real designer, it's okay because they have templates and they have other pre-built sections now that make the job of putting a website together incredibly easy. And today what I hope to do is show you guys kind of the in and outs and all the little kind of nuances and where everything's kind of located to make it really easy for you to navigate and do. And then the second thing I'm going to do is try to show you the pre-built sections and also the templates. So again, if you're not a world-class designer and you just want to put something together quick, that you at least will have the resources and the know-how of where things are so you can start building things very effectively and quickly. So the first thing that I'm going to do is show you kind of a general overview, kind of where everything is located and go over the basics of like where to find things and basically the way I kind of operate inside here. Now, to be very clear, I am not a designer, but I know how to navigate enough that I can put some pretty serious and cool looking pages together in a very short time frame and get things launched. I'm also the believer that, again, I can have something kind of preset and then hire a designer to go in and give it nice finishing touches. And a designer can sometimes just take what's already there and make it prettier, make it nicer, and whatever it is. And sometimes that's kind of the path I take. But regardless of which, I can guarantee you after this video, you'll at least know how to put something together very quickly to get the basics out so you can launch whatever you're trying to launch. All right, so without further ado, let's jump right in. So when you go inside the tool, the first thing you're going to do is you probably are going to start off in your Launchpad area or in your dashboard. And what you want to do is you want to go over to the bottom left hand over here and go to sites. This, by the way, is called the left hand side menu. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to sites right here. Now, when you go to sites, I already have some preliminary funnels in here, but remember, we're going to work on the website builder. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of a secret. The website builder and the funnel builder are very similar with a couple of different little nuances, but it's not really hard for you to kind of put it together. But again, they're very similar. I'm going to show you today only the website builder. I'll make another video with the funnel builder to kind of understand the difference. And again, while we're on the subject, the website versus a funnel is a website has a top menu navigation and it's meant to be like almost like a hub, an information area. Websites are usually used to do search engine optimization or SEO, while funnels are a little bit different. Funnels are basically a one-stop kind of shop for one particular thing. So for instance, if I go into a funnel, there is no navigation bar and it's usually selling one thing, one lead magnet, one product, one service, one calendar, because the main goal of a funnel is to funnel people through an action. All right, so we're going to go to the website builder today, again, because that's what we're working on. And what we're going to do is you're going to notice when you come in here, you have folders, you have new website, and you also have the button new website here. I always create a folder. For instance, this is going to be for my wife's med spa. So I'm going to go Blissful Basics is the name of the med spa. And I'm just going to go ahead and hit confirm. Now, we're not going to build a full website here. I am going to try to show you a template for med spas that we can leverage and use that I can customize later. But again, we're just going to go over the basics. Now that I've created a folder, I want to refresh because I want to be able to create my website inside the folder. All right. So for some odd reason, the folder is not showing. So I'm going to create another folder again, and maybe there's a little delay. Sometimes that happens, and I'm happy that it's happening live because it is sometimes the reality of the situation. Sometimes things just don't appear right away. Now I have like 4 folders. It looks like there's a little bit of a caching issue today. It does say that the folder is created, but again, I don't know why that's happening. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to come out of this. I'm going to go back, and for some odd reason, it's not showing. Again, it's there. It'll probably show up at a later point in time. I'm going to go ahead and start creating the website. So in here, when I click that create a new website, and all it did was hit that big blue button there, you're going to see from a blank, like meaning you are going to be doing the design from start to finish, and you're going to see from templates. Now there's over 1,000 plus templates, and they keep adding every couple of months, they keep adding more and more templates. We're going to do it from blank because I want to show you the overall kind of structure, right? So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to call it Blissful Basics. Okay, and I'm going to hit create. And it's going to take a second and the website is going to be created. Now, when it creates a website, it's basically going to create a shell, meaning that's not going to have anything there. I'm going to give it a few seconds. There's obviously some kind of weird delay happening today with HighLevel, but give us 1 second. Hey, we want to interrupt this video for a quick little minute to just let you know that I hope you're enjoying this video. We want to thank you for being here, but more importantly, we are hoping that this content helps you do whatever you're trying to do inside of HighLevel. We also want to let you know that you have options to get additional help. We offer a $197 a month VIP coaching program that includes 4 4 days of office hours, first come, first serve, with Andy or myself, where we go in and we answer any of your questions that you might have live with the group setting for other people that are also working in high level. We also have a VIP group where we answer questions directly one-on-one with anybody posting in that group to give you the absolute best support. It also comes with a bunch of other features, including our funnel brick system, our little mini course, and more importantly, a couple guides that'll help you through this, and also including our SOP library that we use for pretty much everything inside of our agency. So thank you for this quick little minute, but more importantly, go back to the video, get whatever you need, and if you have any questions that we can answer inside the video, just drop a comment on the video and we'll make sure to answer whenever we get a chance. And now back to the show. Okay, and now my website is here. As you can see, there are no pages, there's nothing here, and I have the first thing we're gonna go over, which is this top bar right here. Now, this top bar right here is basically your website full navigation, meaning where you're gonna go in and basically make your site live, check the stats of your website, see how many people have come in. If there's any sales being processed through the website, you'll be able to see it here. Security is a little bit more advanced. I'm not gonna go over that because you have to know a little bit about headers and footers and security headers, and that's a little bit more complex. Events, same thing. You can add new events to track. This is mostly for your, Facebook Pixel and other events in here. And then you have settings where we are going to use towards the end of this video because we are going to make our site live just so you can see how to make a site live as we go through. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to pages, and in here, you notice that there's this page button that says add new page. Now, for some odd reason, if you don't see it, it means that your screen is either too small and the button's being hidden, but just click on the button here and you're ready to go. Now, this is important. Now, you're going to name the page. The name of the page should really be the first, like for instance, this is Blissful Basics, right? You want to make sure that the name of the actual product, service, website, whatever it is, you're naming it, and you're naming it whatever the page is. So this is going to be the Blissful Basics home. All right. And I'm going to do a forward path of home. And that now becomes my home page that I'm going to leverage to, kind of talk about what this med spa is all about. And I'm going to hit create new page. All right. Now, while it's doing that, you're going to notice that you come in here and there's a couple things to notice in here. One is where you can use from an existing website that's already designed. If I wanted to, let's say, use a design from, let's say, another funnel or a website, I can go ahead and pull that design directly into this page. So I don't have to, kind of bring colors in and do all that crazy stuff. It makes it a little bit easier. And I can also pick the page that I want to pull the design from. Now, when it does that though, it is going to bring the entire page over and it's going to bring everything that that page has, which sometimes is okay. But if it's a very long page, it can be incredibly frustrating because you have to delete everything. So sometimes people like to create it from scratch. I personally don't. I always pull in once I got the design figured out, then I go back in and I design the rest of the pages by pulling the original in and then just eliminating things I don't want and redesigning certain aspects of the page. Again, that's just my method, but you can do whatever you'd like, right? So for instance, I don't have one, so I'm going to create mine from blank for the reason of just showing you guys everything about it. And you're also going to notice that there's 3 little dots right here, which are also very important. One, you're going to have products here. If you're planning on selling something on the page, you always need to add the product inside. And the product is not created here. The product is creating payments. If you have a question on how to create all the purchasing workflows and all that, we have a video called Purchase Workflow. I recommend you watching that. That's going to have a little bit more guidance on how to do that per se, right? How to put it out all together. Cloning is super simple. If you want to clone this particular page, you can do that here. And you have delete. If you want to delete the page, you can delete the page. Then you have settings. Setting is changing the name of the actual page and the path where people kind of type in to go to that individual page. All right. And then you have the edit button where you can edit on a new tab, or you can edit the page detail, which brings you back to the actual page we're going to edit. Let me show you how I did that again. There's 2 ways to get through it. You can do create from blank or you can hit edit. And this little tiny button is if you want to preview the actual page, you can preview the page by clicking on that button. All right. So we're going to jump right to it. Either use the create from blank or I can hit the edit. I'm just going to hit the edit and we're going to go into the blank page. Now, what's the most important part about all of this is understanding the navigation of where everything is. There is a lot going on in here. And what's really cool about it is there's so many cool things, but if you don't know where they are, it becomes a little frustrating, right? So a couple things here. First, understand, I'm going to close this out, understand where all things are. Up here is a bar that basically has some features that you're definitely going to require to use as you go through. First is going to be the plus sign, where you add sections, rows, global sections, section templates. You can add a store element and make this into a store, like an e-commerce store. You have pre-built sections, which again, we're going to go towards the end of the video. Buttons, social media icons, countdown timers, which is a brand new feature, images, and even a progress bar. Again, we're going to go over these as we kind of build it together, but I just want to show you first where you get this. And again, it's over on the left-hand side and you hit this little plus sign, and this is where we're going to be adding stuff into the page. So elements are things that you add on the page. All right. Followed by that, we have what we call layers. Layers is basically where everything is in the page. As we start building things out, you're going to have layers and then a pop-up, which is an additional layer, you know, that thing that pops up when somebody hits a button. The page will have everything that you build out. You're seeing, as we kind of build that out, I'm going to start showing you a little bit in there because we are going to leverage it. But that's basically where you see everything that's on the page at like a very like macro level, like you're seeing it from the bigger picture. Then you have your pages. So you can have a list of all your pages, your home, your contact us, your about us, your whatever page you're going to want to add for this, like a service page. Here is your tracking code. This is normally what you would put tracking codes for like Google Analytics, your Facebook Pixel. Got to be honest, we don't use this as much anymore because we use the settings area where we put that all in. And again, if you want to see a video about that, check out my Google Analytics video or our Facebook conversions video, and you'll see how we kind of do all of this for that particular stuff, but just know where this is. Right after that, you're going to have your custom CSS. This is very advanced design. CSS is a code that basically adds very cool features and things that you can do. CSS is an art form in its own. Again, it's really used for designers, but there are very cool CSS things that you can learn that will definitely enhance your site. And this is where all that code would go. Here, you're going to have your typography. This is going to be basically, if you want a particular font for your entire site, this is basically, you would come in here and you have over, dozens upon dozens of Google's fonts, and you would pick whatever font you want. The headline font is going to be for any headlines that you have, and the content font is going to be for anything outside of the headline. Text color is the actual color of all the text you're going to have in here, and link color would be the link color that you would have for your particular site. Now, here is backgrounds. This is where you control the entire background for the entire site. So if I wanted to have the entire site in black background, I would come in here, I would adjust the background. It would be here. If I wanted an image where I can have an image in the background, I will load an entire image and everything will go on top of that image. And this is where you set it. Pop-up is really important. This is where you're going to have your forms to pop up. This is where you're going to set all that when the pop-up comes in. We'll go over this as we build out things a little bit. And you're also going to have the SEO metadata. Now, the SEO metadata is important. SEO metadata means search engine optimization data. And what that means is every time you come in and you build a site, whatever you put in here is what's going to show up on the tab. And if you ever share it with social media, that's what's going to show on here. This can be very controlled by clicking on the different things here that are really important for your search engine optimization, meaning being able to be searched by the internet. And two, when you share something, making sure it says the right thing. If I don't change anything, it would literally say yourwebsite.com would be here. Something that I wouldn't want to show on Facebook if I'm sharing this, right? So know that everything here is kind of very clear. One, you want to title your page to whatever the services you're going to provide. So for instance, if I do like Visual Basics, I would do the name of the company always. That's the way I do it first. And then the service, Med Spa, New Jersey. Okay, that would be something that I would do. And in the description, I would like offering vampire facials. You know, the fact that I know so much about this is a little scary. Offering vampire facials, dermaplaning, list all the features and everything else, and I would put the name of the business again and so forth and so on. This is the description that when I share this thing, I would want to make sure that it has the name of the business, it has what the services are, what it does, and so forth and so on, and I would just go in there. Keywords would be all the services that I'm going to plan on offering. Author would again be the name of the business. So for instance, I would probably put Blissful Basics or my wife's name in here. Social image is going to be the image that people are going to see. So a logo, maybe somebody servicing the thing that I'm going to sell, and so forth and so on. Links and tags are a little bit more advanced. I'm not going to go into that, but this is kind of where you would put search engine optimization meta tags. Again, a little bit advanced. I'm not going to cover that. It's too complex to talk about, and it's really hard to understand if you really don't know what you're doing. But once I'm done here, I update the SEO metadata, and then it will start doing its thing. Right now, from here, preview custom codes is going to be, if there's any custom codes inside of here, what that preview button will do, we'll pop that up so we can see it. And cookie consent would be for any place that you have to enable cookies. You would enable this cookie consent banner. And again, you're going to get this big warning that says, hey, if you do this, understand that third-party widgets and custom codes like head tracking and footer tracking for ads and also Google, analytics and all that will sometimes be blocked if the person doesn't accept the cookies. So just be aware that that does become a thing. Now here, what's really cool is if you want to kind of control your screen of when you're designing, you're going to go ahead and you're going to click this thing and you can go to 2-column mode where you can see the element design. So for instance, here you pick the elements on the left and on the right, you actually design the element. And then you're going to come into the center, which is one of the most missed parts. You can come in here and you can select any of the pages. So if you're working on multiple pages and you want to go back and forth through the page, you can do that. The one thing I will tell you though, in the world of design and building websites and funnels and even automations, always be saving. You know how they always said, always be selling? In the world of design and building these things, I recommend ABS, always be saving, because if you do not save and you go to another page, you will get warnings, but sometimes those warnings do not trigger. And what happens is you will lose everything that you've been working on. So be very, very careful in switching sites or leaving this site or leaving this on too much. And you see this yellow ball kind of flashing a little bit, you're going to want to save and you're going to want to do that often. Very, very important. Here is the desktop mode and mobile mode. Mobile mode is always recommended to build mobile first and then go into desktop. I sometimes don't do that. I honestly build desktop first and then just for mobile, but that's just a force of habit. It really should be the other way around, but again, preference on you on that. But I will tell you that depending on the market that you're in, some people are 80% mobile. My market is not 80% mobile. I have the metrics to prove that. My market is very heavy on desktop. I would say probably closer to 80% with 20% on mobile. Call it, I guess, I'm like a fluke in that situation, but that is not the majority case. Majority case is most people are mobile first. So some people start designing right in mobile first and they do not do desktop until after the fact. Connecting a domain, this will be on if you don't have domain connected. And I'll show you how to do that towards the end of the video. Again, this is going to be a pretty long video, but understand that that's going to be towards the end part. Now, versions, very, very smart area. If you mess up or somebody comes in and blows up your website, or you had the designer work in and he destroys something, the cool thing about this is it has versions control. So what it means is if I click on that, I can go back to a previous version based on when I saved last. It holds up to a few. I don't know how many it does, but it doesn't hold all the versions, but it does hold, I think, the 10 most frequent or the 15 last, but whatever it is, that number, just know that if something goes wrong, you do have the option of reverting back. There's also the undo buttons and the redo buttons. Those are going to be your favorite friends when you start this process, especially if you're not a skilled designer, but it's pretty easy to do as you go through. And then you have the settings area where, again, it's the control of this right-hand side. All right, now that we've kind of gone through all of this, let's start kind of putting a page together, right? Again, I have a blank canvas. I do like having my design window up. So again, you can do this through here where you go into 2-column mode, or you can do hide settings or show settings in here, and it's going to do that for it. All right, now let's go over the basics, right? So now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to add my first elements. The first thing that you need to understand is sections, rows, columns, and elements inside of your actual columns. All right, I know that sounds a little confusing, but just kind of go with me on this. Sections are different parts of the website and how they're built. So you first always start with sections because you always have to add a section before you do anything else. So for instance, if I come in here and I add a section, let's call this my navigation bar. So I added a section and I wanted to show you how easy this was. I came in here and notice how they're in a particular order because that's the order that things are going to come in on. So if I come in here and I need a full width section to start, I can make a wide section, which is a little bit smaller, a medium section's even smaller, and a smaller section's even smaller, right? That's how kind of these things work in. I always work with full width sections and then I adjust my rows. Again, other people are very different. I do it that way. It's just easier. So if I want my first part of the section, which I'm going to do for the navigation bar, I'm going to come over here and grab the section and drag it. If you are having problems with things not dragging, one, you're probably using the wrong browser. You should be using Chrome. Chrome is the better browser for doing this. Or two, you have an extension up here that is conflicting and not allowing your sections to move. Sometimes a virus scanner, sometimes Bitdefender, sometimes these like things that are on your computer will not allow to do that. If you have that, go into incognito mode, which is coming in here to the 3 little dots, do incognito and design that way. All right. Now I've delivered my first section. Notice that it delivered. Look what populated on the right-hand side. The right-hand side is basically the customization for this section. One, you can name your section. I'm going to name my nav bar, and this becomes your naming convention so you know where things are and what sections are which. I do this when I build because it makes it really easy for me to identify where things are as I'm building them out. So I call it nav bar, right? Now, stickiness means, do I want this thing to stay on top? So if I wanted the nav bar to stay up on top, I would hit stick to top on scroll, and then as I'm navigating bar down, the navigation bar will always stick. If I want it all the way in the bottom, it would be the opposite, and so forth and so on. Margin and padding is a little confusing sometimes. So margin is the space. So if let's do margin, right? If I do 80, it is the white space before and after the actual section in here for anything. Padding is a little bit different. So if I go to 0, all right, it brings it back up. That's what margin is. Padding is a little bit different. Padding is the space inside. So remember, margin is before and after the actual thing. Padding is basically the thing in between inside this area here. So for instance, if I come in here, and what's really cool about this is they made it scalable. Notice how my actual section gets bigger and larger as I go through there because it's controlling it inside its actual place, right? So I have it set to 20, which is perfectly fine. And what's cool is I could see what it is on mobile and I could see what it is on desktop by using this little icon right in here, right? And then you have the advanced area where if I wanted to create a little shadow or make it smaller or, add a border and everything else, this becomes more design elements. I can do that, all right? So for instance, all I want to do is I added my first section, all right? But now remember, it goes in a specific order. I now need to add what's called a row. Now notice a row comes with 1 column, 2 columns, 4 columns, 6 columns, 3, whatever I want. I'm going to do one that has 2 columns because I want my nav bar to be on the right and I want a logo to be on the left, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my 2 columns and notice all I did was click on it. And notice how my columns come in. And you see the row is the blue, the section is the green, and the columns are purple. All right, so that's just very important to know because sometimes what's tricky about all this, you have to kind of like maneuver so you can get into the actual places that you want. And it's really annoying to do so. This is where layers come in. If I go in here into my page under the layers area, I have the row and the columns. So if I can't get to it because my mouse is going to be weird or the screen's acting all funky and I want to get a specific area, this is why naming these sections and these rows will sometimes be helpful. So you can go back in and find whatever you want, right? So for instance, now that I have the nav bar, I want to make it where the picture's literally a little bit to the right and I want the nav bar having the most space. Notice how I can drag these spaces back and forth, all right? So let's go ahead and drag that. Okay, and again, I got my section, my nav bar area, right? I got my row where my nav bar is gonna live, and then I have my columns that one column I'm gonna put my picture, and the other one I'm gonna put my nav bar. Well, crap, well, how do I add this stuff? Really easy. You go over to the plus sign once again, and by the way, just like before, let's go to our row. Remember, if I wanna go to my row, I select it on the blue. If I wanna go to my section, I select on the green. Notice how stuff changes on the right-hand side. Whatever you're clicking on, you go into the right-hand side and you're gonna go in and you're gonna customize it, right? So I'm in my row and here, notice that if I wanted to make this row smaller, look what I'm doing. You see that? I'm making it smaller. Very easy to do because I'm in my 2-column row and I can do that. And if I wanted to get box shadows and borders, I can do that too. All right, so again, sections, rows, columns. Well, on the right-hand column, I want to add my nav bar. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to hit add element. And now we're going to get into the different elements. There are headlines, which is the big kind of, everybody's seen it. The first thing you see on the website should be a headline. Everything else should either be a sub-headline or a paragraph. You have bullet points, you have buttons, you have forms, you have blog posts area. And this brings in the blog post and navigation for blog posts on the right-hand side. I'm not going to cover this. This is its own like kind of little thing in here. You're going to have an image slider if you want a slider, a video, an image, FAQ, custom code, which is going to bring some elements of the code, survey results, calendar, maps, SVGs, which is an advanced kind of image that you can change colors on, reviews, you bring in the review widget, countdown timers that are stagnant. These are not the new countdown timers you see here. These are the original ones that are here. These still have really good use functions. The countdown timers here are a little bit more advanced and they're part of one of our updated videos if you want to see them work. We have our navigation menu, which is what we're going to need, a divider, a progress bar. Image feature is basically an image that has some wording underneath it. You have social icons, which are all your social icons, and then order elements if you're trying to do an order, right? But for instance, what I need right now is I need a navigation bar that has my business name. Notice that it already has an image here. So honestly, I don't think I'm going to need the row or the column, the second column. So if I don't need the second column, all I have to do is find that purple, right? Come in here and delete it and notice how this just became bigger. Now, well, I need to modify this. I need to like make it nicer, right? Click on the orange element. It is called your navigation menu. And you know that you're on the orange element because it's here. Sometimes it gets a little funky and it won't let you necessarily select that. What I recommend doing is going up here to the little cogwheel, clicking on it, and this will come up on the right-hand side. Remember, you add from the left using the plus sign and you customize by selecting the element, the row, the section, the column, whatever it is, and you do everything to customize it on the right. Now, I'm in the navigation menu because it says navigation menu on the right, right? And I want to check for padding. I don't want any space. And notice here that I have the home, about, and everything else. Well, what if I want to add a menu item called services? I come over here, and the title is going to be service. All right. I'm not going to worry about going to a specific place, but I'm just going to go ahead and hit submit. And notice it adds service. Well, it's all the way at the bottom. I don't want it there. I want to move it. So I come in here and I'm going to move it up. And now we have home and it says service. So I want to adjust it. I click on the little edit and hit services, hit submit. Now we're good to go. And I have the about and I have team. Well, I don't have a team. So I'm going to come over here and I can delete it. Okay. And hit okay. Now I have my 4 pages that I want. Well, I need a picture because I have a logo, or I want to change the business name. Well, if you keep scrolling down, it's going to have it here. So for instance, here's the brand logo, right? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go grab a logo somewhere, which I don't have, but let me see if I can just find something in here. It's going to be this logo thing. Oh, should have been able to. Well, that's weird. So I'm just going to copy the link. That's kind of weird that it didn't let me do that. All right, I'm going to X out of this. And normally you wouldn't have to do that. It would be clickable. Again, we're having some issues today. And notice here's my logo. If I wanted to put my name of the business in here, I can click on here and change to Blissful Basics. Okay, here we go. If I wanted to change the color, maybe I want to have some bright blues, or I want to change make it Roberto. I can do it one of 2 ways. I can highlight this here. I have all these different things. I can italicize it, I can underline it, I can strike through, I can add it as a link. We're not going to do any of that. I am going to bold it though. And here it controls. Color is for when it's the normal font. Bold is when it's bold. Italics is when it's italic. Underline is when it's underlined. Icon is if there's any icons before it. Hover text, if I want something hovered over like a link, I wanted to change a certain color. And hover background color, if I want the whole thing kind of highlighting, I control that here. Now, it even says works only on desktop view, doesn't work on mobile because some things get blocked on mobile. For instance, I made this bold. So because I made it bold, I have to change this here on the bold side. And if I wanted to change it to a blue, notice how that changed to a blue. All right, remember, you pull things on the left and you customize on the right. And now if I want it advanced, I can make it where if I put everything lowercase, I want everything to be uppercase, and see, it changes everything to uppercase, but I like capitalization, so it does all this here. If I want more spacing in between the lines, I can come over here and I can mess with it. I'm not going to go over every single design element because we would be here for like 9 days, but it just kind of gives you the basic idea of understanding how this works. And then a menu configuration, if I want the headline in the menu, I can take it out. I can put it in reverse where the logo is there and that is in here. There's a bunch of cool things you can do. All you have to remember is to customize stuff like this. You go to the right-hand side and you hit general, advanced, and so on, and kind of go through it. All right. So I brought in my navigation bar and I did all this. Let's add our first headline, right? I come in here and now what I want to do is I want to add another section. All right. And this section here, I'm going to name, and I'm going to call it the main headline section. All right. I'm going to come in here. I don't know why it has negative, but I'm just going to change. I might have hit something by mistake. No padding, nothing whatsoever. And what I'm going to do is I want to create images of the service on the right, headline, a subheadline, and a form. So that is going to kind of be what's in my head that I want to see because it's something that I see. Now, but what I also notice is there's a lot of spacing on the top and I want my menu to be smaller. And remember that we have this padding everywhere. I'm going to bring that down to 0 because I want that top menu being super tiny. And I'm going to just bring not negative. I definitely don't want that. So I'm going to bring that to 0. And I want to make sure that everything has like 0 to no padding because I want all spaces gone. You can actually go into negative where it kind of bleeds into the other one, just for you to understand that you can do that. And there's a lot of really other cool things you can do with sizing, but just understand that's an option there. Now I'm going to add a row. I want a 2-column row. And again, I'm going to have an image on the left, a headline with a subheadline, and a form on the right. And again, if you're like, well, how do you know all this? I just go find a site that I like. I kind of like the design aspects of it. And then I start building in my own, right? So I come in here, I added my section, which is going to be my main headline section. I added my column, my 2-column row, and now I have my 2 columns. Well, the left-hand side column, I want the element of an image. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to grab an image. All right. So you can use the search, by the way, which I highly recommend doing. And I'm going to go ahead and, then drag over. Sometimes that happens. I can double click it. Here's my image. On the right-hand side, remember, I wanted a headline. Is this going to be my med headline? Boom, there's my large call to action, best med spa in New Jersey. All right, obviously not the headline I'm going to be using, but just give you a nice example. And then I'm going to add my subheadline. The coolest part about this is when you build stuff, you can build the raw part of it, add all the elements in, then go back and go bananas with the design. So you don't have to be kind of like, I like to build everything out so I know where everything's laid out. And then either one, I hand it off to a really world-class designer, or two, then I go back in and I play with it myself to get the things that I want. And honestly, I find the site that I really love and I try to mimic some of the things on there, obviously not plagiarize or take anything that's from the site, but definitely get some ideas of what it is. And sometimes I got to be honest, I look at 5, 6 different sites and take bits and pieces of different sites of things that I like. So I got a small headline, vampire facial for only $2.99. All right, boom. All right, and now I might want to do some like bullet points here also. So I'm going to do a little bullet point area. Revitalize your face, I don't know, or skin. We'll say skin. Done by world-class team. Blood, well, it's a blood thing. I don't know. We'll say 80% off normal price, and then first 10 tickets. I don't know. We'll do something like that. I mean, obviously, you know, I'm going to figure all that later, but like, see, it looks a little plain. Maybe I want to put some spacing into it. Now, remember, if I want to adjust any of these, I click on the element, and again, it'll see what element it is. Bullet list, subheadline, headline. Come in here and I want to customize a little bit more, right? I want some spacing in between. Those icons look weird. I want better icons, right? So I come in here and I write in like checklist. Yeah, I want the circle ones. All right. I want them being blue. And again, not worrying about, see, it went for the color, not the icon. So I'm going to go back to black. I want my icons being blue. All right. And then I want more spacing for sure in here. So I'm going to come over here. I go to like my line height. Oh, too much. Let's see what 1.8 look perfect. Okay. And then I might want to add a form. All right. So I come over here, form, or maybe a button. You know what? Let's just add a button for now to make it super easy. Come in here and add a button. Now I got a button. Change the button to blue. And again, it says button, and I could say first section button, whatever I want, right? And I come in here. And again, if I want to customize the button, anything that has to do with the button is going to be over on the right-hand side. So if I want to customize the writing in here, if I got to go all the way down, and it's going to have grab this offer now, limited, right? And it opens up the pop-up where it's going to have the form. And the button seems way too big. I'll automate the button coming in. So notice that you can come in here. Here's the general button. Here's all the spacing. Seems like there's a lot of padding. I want to get rid of that padding. I want to make that button tight. Maybe like a little padding, like 5. All right. And then change this to 5. All right. And then it's going to open up the pop-up. I want the button bouncing in or maybe coming in from the right. Something like that. Look at that. I can add automations. And then I can have, you know, all kinds of different things, background styles, like full width, normal transformation. These are all different things you can play with as you're diving into this and make it super easy for you. Okay. Now, here's a cool part. I showed you all. I'm not going to go through every single one because like I said, this video will be like over like 3 hours long because there's that many elements that you can customize and do. But here's the cool thing about this is, one, you have the ability of bringing in pre-built sections now. So for instance, if I'm not the person that has all this design ability and I just want to bring in sections, you now can click on pre-built sections. Remember, that's the green areas, all pre-built for you, that all you have to do is come in here and move them on in. So I created my first part already, so I don't need that section unless I really hate it and I want to bring somebody else's, but I don't hate that too much because I can work with that. But maybe I want to do where I have testimonials right here. So I like this kind of testimonial or video testimonials or this kind of testimonial or whatever, or look at this. This looks pretty cool. But for instance, I might want just a very simple testimonial here. I can grab this section, boom. And look at that. Now I have this whole entire thing in here. And all I have to do is go change the image and the pictures and the star rating or whatever it is and just go bananas. Now I want to add a different section. Maybe I want like FAQs because people might have FAQs about what they're getting. I come in here. I want to make this section white. I drag it over. Boom. Now the FAQs are here. And you're like, well, how do I change the FAQs? Click on it. You come in here. You click on the list item. Once you click on the list item, remember, all I did was add them in and then came over here. And now I can come in here and modify whatever I have. I have the list items. I have images if I can add them in here. I can do whatever I want. And if I want to change words in here, I add the first question. I do it all that. And then I can just come in here, customize. Remember, add on the left, customize on the right. And even the ones that weren't like there were the pre-built section, same thing. I come in here, it's looking for a headline. I can customize the headline in here. If I wanted to customize this button or change the color of this writing, I click on it, I customize it on the right-hand side. So again, now that the frequently asked questions are done, maybe I talk about the products. So I'll drag, well, here's our product offering. All right, I'll go back to this crazy color, boom. And maybe at the end, I want to have a call to action, like, come in now, grab your seat, whatever it is. And I want to have this white one again. So I drag it in here. And then at the bottom, I need a footer. So I come in here and I drag the footer. And now within minutes, I have a full-fledged site. Pretty simple to do, right, guys? So that's how the general piece of this is. And remember, anything you don't like, you come in here. And again, maybe I want to add an automation for frequently asked questions and I want to automate it in. And I want to have advanced, I want to change, and I want to give it kind of like a weird highlight or whatever it is you do. You can go in here and you can modify all of this as long as you understand where things are. If you're missing any of the, like, how do I get to this? 9 times out of 10, it's in here somewhere. You just got to figure out where it is. All right. Now, we talked about sections, rows, elements. Let's talk about global sections. Global sections, to be clear, are going to be sections that you're going to use on every page. The way global sections work is if you change the global section here, it will change on all your other pages. This will only work for the website you are currently in. You cannot take a global section and put it in a different website and have it work the same. It doesn't work like that. Global sections are for sites, their actual website in here that you can leverage within all the pages, but you cannot leverage them out. And it's really easy to make a global section. If I come in here and I go to my section, remember sections here, and if you're like, I can't get to it, remember your layers. Notice how now I have all these sections that I added, but notice because I didn't name them, I don't know which section's which, but it's okay. All you have to do is click on the section and it navigates to the section. Isn't that cool? Goes all the way down. But let's go back to the nav bar because I want to make this section the nav bar. And notice it has a column row, 2 columns, and it has a navigation bar. But I want to make this section a global section, meaning I want to use this on every single page of my website, and I want to rebuild this every time. So I come in here and I hit save, and in save, I would say global nav bar, all right? And I come in here and I add it to my global sections and I hit save. Now notice that this turned into a purple item because now it's a global item. Well, what if I wanted to use this testimonial in other pages? Maybe like my book a call page. Click on this one after you customize it. And section templates are different than global templates or global sections. A section template can be used on multiple websites, not just this one. So if you're building another website and as long as it's in the same account, well, as long as it's in the same account, right? It's got to be in this account. I can use that section in other places. So if I come in here and I hit save, and this time I want to name the section testimonial section, come in here, and I name it as a template. And now I have now officially saved this as a section template. Well, how do I find these global sections and these global templates? Real easy. When you want to now find these sections, you go to sections, and inside the sections, you're going to notice all your global sections. Look at our global nav bar here. And our section templates are all the ones that we already pre-created, which we've already have a bunch of pre-created ones that we have in here. And those are all there. So we have the pre-built sections, which you add in itself. You could create your global sections and doing all that. You can even drag buttons if you like a certain design into buttons. And you have now, let's say even social media icons. Let me just show you how those work. If I wanted to add social media icons, let's say right here, if I like the square one, I can grab it and just drag it in. And if I don't have all these social media icons, remember, how do we customize an element? We click on the element, it says social icons here. I don't have a TikTok account, so I'm going to delete that. If I want to add other socials, I come in here and I look for the ones that I have and I add it. And if I want to add the links to the socials, I come in here. Like I said, now that you kind of understand the basics of like sections and where things are, you got to remember, you add on the left, you customize on the right, and it becomes like kind of like how everything works and how you're going to build all of this, right? So this is kind of the general outline of like how you build websites. And look, I literally, with the pre-built sections and everything else, I build it very fast. Now that this is all said and done, remember, always be saving. I can actually preview this and see what it looks like. So if I come over here into the preview area, there you go. I have my preliminary site that I want in here. Again, obviously not the finished site, and I'm kind of done. Well, what if I wanted to add another page? Really simple. You come over here, add new page. Remember that whole thing that I told about? Let's say this is about us. Listful. Remember, always put the name of it first, because like that, it's easier to find later on. Trust me, you'll thank me if you do it this way, about us, /about. And I hit create new page, and it's going to bring that blank square again that it's going to ask me create from existing. And I actually, yeah, I do. I want to create from a current website page, which is my home page. And what it does is it imports the entire page over, and then I just start limiting things I don't want. Right? So I showed you how to do all this. Well, what if I want to make this website done? I'm done doing all the fancy edit. I added all my pages. Everything's good to go. What if I want to make it live? Click on settings, come in here, add your domain, and literally hit save. And now this is a live website and it's overly that simple. The sites are here. It's completely done. Nothing else for you to do. Again, this is why I build everything first. I customize it. And then all you have to do is come in here and add your domain in here. And now the site is live. Now I'm going to delete this. I'm just going to remove this because obviously this is nowhere near done. But now let me also show you how you can kind of grab a template and start customizing that in the same way that you learned about this. So now what we're going to do is we're going to grab, and notice our folders are here. Well, how do I put this website into a folder? Let me just do that with you now. One, I'm going to delete the folder I don't need because obviously there was a little delay before. If you guys watched the beginning of this video when I created the folder, but I'm going to come over here and I'm going to move this website now into a folder. And I'm going to come in here, boom. And now this website's going to be moved into the folder. So now any website that I built for this particular business, this particular service is going to be in here. So let's click on the Blissful's website folder again. And I'm going to select new website. And this time I'm going to go from a template, right? Again, this is how I cheat, folks. Going to be completely transparent. I love the designs in here. Even if I don't love the designs, it gives me the basic format so I don't have to build everything out. And then I can go back and basically hire a designer, do whatever I need to kind of like make everything super nice. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to type in, let's say med spa or med. Look at this. It's got all kinds of different medical coverage, social media manager, but it's got this med spa, which is perfect. I'm going to go ahead and click on this one. You can actually preview it in here. This is perfect. This is beautiful. Exactly what I want. Look at that. All right. It's got everything that I need. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to hit continue. And it's go ahead and it's going to add the template. What's really cool about this is it's already going to have a pre-built design. And guess what? Now that you understand sections, templates, areas, and customization, you want to change the color. What do? Go to the global menu, right? Because you guys know what this is. And I want the background being blue. I change the background being blue. Oh, I want the snap bar to be blue. You know what I'm saying? There's some kind of column over here that is doing that. And am I on the column? Come in here and I want to make it blue. All right, there's another thing lingering around here somewhere. It's probably the row. I go to layers and I go to page. There's the top header, all right, or the menu area. Notice how these things in that first column and the navigation bar. See, and then I just can keep customizing it. And you're like, where's that naughty color in there? There it is again. Now I got all my blue. See, now it's all the color that I want. I can come in here and change everything that I need to change. And maybe I want to add a section. Come over here. Add maybe a pre-built section in here and do whatever you need to do. Now, again, maybe I want a different style, pick a different template, you know, maybe, and see, this one comes with all the pages, which makes my job way easier. I want to go to the about page. Yes, unsaved changes because I don't want to do that. I can come in here and it's got the about page in here. And all I got to do is go back in and customize it again. And again, real easy. As long as you remember things on the left, customize on the right. And then the last thing I kind of want to go over a little bit, right, is let's go back to the home page and I'm going to hit OK because I want people to go in here and make an appointment, but I want to put the calendar on a pop-up. I want this to open in a pop-up. So instead of going to the page called booking, I want it to be a pop-up. So I'm going to click on the button, make an appointment, and I'm going to do open pop-up. And open pop-up, I'm going to go to my pop-up settings in here. Add a row, remember in a column, add an element, I want to add my calendar. Now, I don't have any calendars on here, but if I did, I would select, oh, I do actually, okay? I'm going to select my appointment calendar. It's going to say 404 because the calendar is not active, but it would actually populate my calendar. And then I can customize and do whatever I want in here. So again, if you just remember the basics of like where things are located and how things operate, now navigating all this makes it super easy. And then as you kind of go through, all of this becomes very easy for you to navigate with and you start playing with it. Now, all these things are going to have so many different features and different ways that you can do things. I got to be honest, you got to spend a little time with them to see how they all work, but there's plenty of help documents that go over this. But more importantly, you gotta kind of play with them in order to see it. But if you wanted to just kind of get something up and going, use one of the templates. Some people buy snapshots. Snapshots usually have a funnel or a website that you can leverage. And more importantly, as you kind of building this out, you just, again, got to remember where things are. And again, I wanted to see what this looks like on mobile. I come in here. This is what it looked like on mobile. Not what I want. I probably lose the image in the background, make this a little bit smaller, customize this a little bit, and then go from there. And that's pretty much it. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope this kind of enlightened you of all the cool things you can do. We went over how to do all the websites. We went over all the elements, the sections, the customizations, the bars, where things are located, how to make your site live, how to add different pages, how to do the pre-built sections, how to use a template. So again, that should arm you well enough to get really going on this. So we hope you enjoyed this video and we'll see you in the next one.